Hello. Welcome back. Today is Monday, September 28th. This is a video for those that need the extra help or are absent for today. For the self-start today, I'm going to have students go ahead and just list as many factors as they can remember or can think of. 48. So just to refresh, your factors are numbers that can be multiplied together to get that number. So go ahead and hit pause and see if you can figure out as many factors of 48 as you can. Okay. Well, I always go with the easy one first, which is just 1 times 48. You've also got 2 and 24. 3, that's kind of an ugly 3, but that's okay. So 48 divided by 3 would give me 16. You have 4 and 12, 6 times 8. 9 doesn't, 10 doesn't, so there's your factors of 48. There's your deep thought for today. You're welcome to hit pause if you want to read it now. As far as information goes, parent-teacher conferences are this week. They are Wednesday and Thursday from 3 to 6:30. They're going to be held over the phone instead of in person this year because of this whole COVID thing. So if your parents do want to speak with me, then have them go to the school website. There's a link that will take them to how to schedule it. So why don't I go ahead and just show you that now? So I'm just going to go ahead and Google search ACHI Tremonton. There it is. So you'll notice right here it says parent-teacher sign up. If you scroll down, you'll notice that a couple of the teachers are together. So for example, Mrs. Dunmeyer and I are together. If you click on that, it will then allow you to sign up for a time to speak with both Mrs. Dunmeyer and myself. You got a couple slots still open so that you are welcome to take advantage of that if needs be. As far as midterm grades, midterms are coming up. So any missing assignments or feedback retakes need to be done and turned in by the end of school on Tuesday. So that way I can get them ready to go for parent-teacher conferences this week. So for today, we've talked about the self-start. Now's a great time for you to check your grades. I've updated everything as of lunchtime today. We start a brand new unit. We move into expressions next. So we're going to go through the vocabulary for this unit and start practicing some of those vocabulary things. The first thing, this should be review. If it's not, you're welcome to take notes. But the properties, associative, all we do is we just move the parentheses. So you'll notice 2 times 7 times 5, 2 times 7 times 5, but in this case, the parentheses went from here to here, and that doesn't change my answer. Commutative property, 2 times 7 times 5. I can switch the order, so 5 times 2 times 7, and that will give me the same answer. And distributive property, it's when you take what's outside the parentheses and you multiply by what's inside. So 2 times 7 plus 2 times 5. We're going to call this year doing the double rainbow, and you'll see why a little bit later. So the first thing you need to understand is these vocabulary words for this unit. I would highly recommend that you either print this page off to keep in your notes or that you write these down so that you have access to them, because you will definitely need to know what these are. First thing you need to understand is what a variable is. A variable in math is just substituted for things we don't know. Some examples could be X or Y or really any letter of the alphabet to represent an unknown. You need to know what a term is. The terms are pieces of an expression that are separated by either an addition or a subtraction. Like terms are terms that are similar that can be combined. We'll talk a little bit more in depth with that here in a moment. Coefficient, It's the number in front of a variable. Again, we'll talk about these more in depth in 1 second. A constant is a number that will never change. It always remains the same. It's not all of a sudden going to become a 2 or a 7. It will always be whatever it is. And you need to understand what factors are. We practice that for your self-start, and factors are just numbers that are multiplied together. So again, you're welcome to hit pause to write these down, or you're welcome just to print off this page of the PowerPoint and keep those for your notes. So we're going to start with a variable. So we just talked what a variable is. It's part of an expression that's unknown. So in this case, we're doing 10. When the 10 and the letter are right next to each other, there's nothing in between them. That's just like saying multiply. So this is like 10 times x plus 3. So the variable in this case would be my x, not my 10, just my x. In this case, negative 6 plus 11n. So variable would be n. Negative h minus 15, my variable would be my h. X plus y plus z. This gives me 3 different variables, x, y, and z. So notice I'm not doing anything with the numbers with them. If you want to understand what a variable is, it is just the letter. Okay? As far as terms we just defined as part of an expression that are separated by an addition or subtraction. I see an addition, so this would be 1 term, and this would be 2 terms, because these 2 pieces are separated by that plus sign. In this case, 4x plus 1 plus 10c, we'd have this as a term, this would be a term, and this would be a term, because all 3 pieces are separated by an addition sign. Negative 8r minus 17, there's a term, and there's a term. So there's 2 terms because it's separated by subtraction. Negative a plus b plus c minus d plus e minus f. This would be a term, 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 and finally this would be a term. So this one would have 6 terms with it because they're separated by either addition or subtraction. So notice on a couple of these where they're multiplying, that is still just 1 term. So terms are only separated by addition or subtraction. Like terms, these are terms that are similar that we can combine. So 4x's plus 8x's would look like this. 4x's, 8x's, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If I add all those up, that would give me 12x's. Negative n, or sorry, 9m minus 9c. Now be careful with this one. They do have the 9 in common. However, because they are connected with that variable and the variables are different, there is nothing that I can combine. It's like saying I can have 9 elephants and 9 giraffes. I can't combine them to make giraffalants. That doesn't work. So for that one, there is no like terms. Again, this one has a variable, this one doesn't. So there is nothing we can combine. We can't do giraffalants, remember. So I have negative 4y plus 11. So in this case, I have a y variable and a y variable that I can combine. So if I have negative 4y's, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 positive, there's my 0 pair, and I'm left with negative 3y's. I can't do anything with that 11, so then I'm just going to say plus 11. So there's your combining like terms. We'll go more in depth with this in the coming days. Coefficients. We defined coefficients as just the number in front of the variable. So in this case, the number, there's my variable, the number that's right in front of it is the 5, so my coefficient would be 5. So it's not 5a, it's just 5. 9 plus 12k, The coefficient is the number right in front of the variable. There's my variable. The number right in front of it is 12. So my coefficient is 12. Negative 11c minus 1. The negative 11 is in front of my variable, so that's my coefficient. And 2a plus 3b plus 4e minus 20. Well, this one has a lot of variables, so the numbers in front of those variables. So 2, 3, and 4 would all be coefficients. This would not be a coefficient because there is no variable with it. Constants. Constants always remain the same. They're not going to change. They're not all of a sudden going to be pink elephants or chocolate milk. So in this case, that 5 is going to change depending on what a is. But the 2 is always going to remain a 2. It's not going to change. So my constant in this case would be the 2. Notice no variables, nothing with it. It's just the number. 9 plus 12k. The 12 can change depending on what k is. So 9 remains the same. It's always going to be a 9. There you go. So 9 is my constant. Negative 11c minus 1. In this case, I'm going to use my superpower to make it a little bit easier on myself. Constant is what's never going to change, and that would be that right there. Last one, 2a plus 3b plus 4e minus 20. The only thing here that doesn't have a variable with it, it's always going to stay the same, is that 20. Now, people will ask about using superpowers. Superpowers are a good idea. In this unit, if you choose not to, then please kind of like circle the sign that's in front of it as well. And that will make things a little bit easier for you down the road. Factors we just defined as numbers that are multiplied together to get a product. So as factors of 36 could include 1 and 36, 2 and 18, 3 and 12, 4 and 9, 6 and 6. So there's my factors. Don't worry about doing these next couple slides. That's for a little bit later purpose. For right now, focus mainly on those vocabulary words. Today's homework will get practice with all of those things. So I would encourage you to do that as well. If you have any questions, please let me know. See you later. Hopefully everything's going well, and we miss you. Bye.